Bring in our experts. We have with us Dr. Paul Saladino, California-based physician in private practice. Dr. Saladino, are you there?
Hello, it's good to be here with you.
Okay. There you are. Great to see you. And also Dr. Roger Schwelt, critical care physician and pulmonologist in Redlands, California. Thank you both. Number one, World Health Organization. Sounds wonderful. Sounds like a great organization. But I know there are problems. Dr. Schwelt, how widely understood are these problems in the medical community? Is there skepticism about the World Health Organization?
Well, usually we look up to organizations and societies. That's how we're trained to do this. They come up with recommendations, and we generally follow it. But there are recommendations. But this is a new page. This is a new era. And people have to sort of think for themselves.
Well, I understand. Look, it's a World Health Organization. What can be wrong with the World Health Organization? Actually, that's how President Trump once put it. Listen to this.
You take a look at everything that's happened. They've been wrong. I was all for it at the beginning. What do I know? I walked in. I said, World Health Organization, isn't that wonderful? And then you start to see all the mistakes.
All the mistakes, like essentially covering up for China, expenses that they should not have. And again, perhaps that's at 50,000 feet, and you two are frontline physicians. But Dr. Saladino, any view on their efficacy and credibility at this point? You've been watching them for a while.
I think that if you look at the Lancet study that they're basing this on, it's a reasonable move to pause hydroxychloroquine. It was over 96,000 patients, and those patients that were given hydroxychloroquine certainly had an increased incidence of cardiac arrhythmias and a worse outcome than those who didn't get it. So I think that it's kind of like I've talked about before, and like I talked about the last time I was on the show, I don't think we can rely on a pill for this. There are other things we need to be doing in terms of our lifestyle to really affect positive change and to really make our immune system as strong as possible. We all hoped hydroxychloroquine would be a good hope, but I think it's a reasonable thing. There certainly are questions about WHO, but this move is reasonable in my opinion and based on a pretty striking finding in a very large study.
Well, the Lancet finding, and you two are the physicians, and you're not slinging the mud that I wanted you to sling tonight, but that's okay. Dr. Samadi, who is normally with us, has called this study, they use some initials, BS. Again, you guys are better evaluating than I am, but there are other physicians who are finding fault with this. By the way, I can't tell if this is good news or bad news, but the mortality rate, we're learning this from the CDC, for COVID is 0.4% at this point. 0.4%. Should we be encouraged by that number, Dr. Schwelt?
Yeah, I mean, the case fatality rate, which is what we're all interested in, gets calculated at the end of everything. So the fact that if that's what it is at this point, it's pretty low. For what it's worth, I totally agree with my colleague, but I think there's some cautions that we have to make when we make decisions based on retrospective data, and that's what it was, is a retrospective data. So the jury's not out.
Have either of you gentlemen, now there's been some mainstream news reporting on this, the Wall Street Journal, that with COVID-19, with people staying inside, not working, prescriptions for antidepressants have gone way up. Depression is a real factor. Have either of you noticed that in your own practices? You're not psychiatrists, but patients tend to unload on their doctors. Dr. Saladino?
Absolutely. And my colleagues have noticed the same thing as well. I think that the new hashtag, instead of flatten the curve, needs to be flatten the fear. As you're saying, the case fatality rate is constantly being adjusted downward as we're learning that more and more people are asymptomatic. More people are perhaps not even developing antibodies. I think the virus is much more widely spread than we believe it to be, which makes the case fatality rate much lower. And what I fear is that this media push toward hysteria and fear is leading people to anxiety and depression unnecessarily, and it's causing a lot of suffering. This increase in prescriptions is very concerning, and I think that now we really need to take an accurate, sobering look at what this virus really means and flatten the fear that the mainstream media has been pushing with regard to it, and be really realistic about what it means for us, and maybe not scare as many people into this kind of a state.
Well, that certainly is what we've been trying to do, flatten the fear. We are all over that. It's been out of control, and the mainstream media seems to be fanning it a great deal. Gentlemen, we thank you very much, Dr. Schwelt. By the way, real quick, if you're in med school, Dr. Schwelt can help you in a big way. Tell us real quick, if you would.
Well, we have online videos, and it's at medcram.com, so join us there.
Okay, medcram.com. And by the way, for Dr. Saladino, the book, I think we have the book cover handy. Let's go ahead and put it on the screen. You advocate a high-protein diet, I believe. The Carnivore Code.
Check it out. Yeah, I think that the foods we eat are crucial for our immune system.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To be continued, both of you. And we'll have Dr. Samani back and see if he'll make that same observation, which he did regarding what the World Health Organization did with hydroxychloroquine. A lot of physicians are seeing hope and progress. Hey, but I'm not a doctor. Listen to those guys.